going on? Sam Cologne here, aka The Messenger. ¿Qué pasa, familia? How you doing? Happy to be here. And today, on today's topic, well, we're going to keep the string of intention. And on our last video, we talked about impact. Now, I just want to go a little bit deeper when it comes to the impact part, because there's this one component on there that I feel that most of us struggle with and are unaware. And I know that I was one of those people, and this is why I'm saying this from personal experience, is that you are enough, right? And so we've been conditioned to think that there are things that we must do to be enough, right? There are things that we must do to be able to share what honestly, quite honestly, is our natural gifts, right? Because of how things are situated. We can go even as far as talking about the education system, all right? So yes, it has a purpose, but if you don't have this degree and that degree and this master's and this, that, and this, it says that you are unqualified to speak about a particular thing, even though you grew up learning everything about that particular thing, right? And so this deep ingrained thing is how we see ourselves and how others see us, because this is what we believe they see us as within, so without, right? And so I'm going to give you a quick story about this. I remember years ago, I would say about 6 years ago, I've been on this journey for a long time. And when I learn new things, particularly around the people that are closest to me and I love the most, I want to share it with them right away. Right? And during this time, I was sharing a lot of things with my wife. And I was, hey, babe, look at this and look at this. Check this out. You should try this out. You should do this. You should do that. You should do this. And one day we got into this heated discussion that then turned into an argument that then turned into her feeling like, I guess, her back was against the wall. And then she just looked at me and said, the day that you get a PhD, then I might fucking listen to you. Like, that's deeply ingrained shit. Now, even then, I was at a certain level that I didn't allow that to take me to a place where I'm going to lose my shit, right? I just looked at her and held that space. And then she started crying without words, right? Because she knew that she was at a space where she was just trying to find a pain point for me to hurt me so I could back off of her. At that point, I left it alone, went for a walk, whatever. We talked it through and everything. But I'm sharing a story because deep inside of us, we have these beliefs. Sometimes we have people that are very gifted in certain things, but because they don't have a certificate or a degree or a diploma or a master's in that particular thing, we look at them as unworthy, like they're not good enough to speak upon that particular topic, right? And I'm here to tell you that, there are things that were done many years ago that didn't require a diploma, but these people were the wise ones. These are the ones that people actually went to go line up to speak to these people for counsel, for advice. They were like the village leaders or the healers, and like they didn't have no diplomas or anything for that, but they were held in high reverence because of the fact that they embodied being worthy, right? They embodied being good enough, and they realized that what they were channeling was allowing them to be good enough, right? And most of us are going through life subconsciously, unconsciously, with the beliefs of not being good enough. And therefore, we don't do the things that in our heart we want to do. Because just imagine, you can know all the things on a particular topic, and if you believe that you are unqualified to speak upon that topic because you haven't gotten the degree, and within yourself, you're telling yourself, when I get to this point where I have this degree, then now I have that authority to speak upon that topic. That deep inside is basically, you're telling yourself, I'm not capable, I'm unworthy, like I can't do this, right? And so I want to reposition this so that you can understand that, yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are capable. And this is going to go hand in hand with your impact in the world and what it is that you're creating. All right, so we talked about impact and service, right? How can you serve to create your impact, right? Now, you're not going to be able to serve if you feel that you are unworthy, right? And I'm not talking about serving in a way where it's like, and let me just be correct. Let me be very specific here. Me going to go help a brother move some boxes, yes, that's of service, 100%. Me helping a lady bring her bags to the car, yes, that's of service. But I'm talking about of service in a way that your soul and your spirit wants to contribute, right? Now, the word contribution, right? There are some people that get to this space that they feel that they are contributing by what they give, right? Or they're contributing by helping with a specific task. But what I want you to navigate, and I invite you to navigate, is, are you being a contribution, right? Are you embodying being that contribution? Now, if you feel that you are unworthy, there's no way on God's green earth that you're going to believe that you are contribution, that you be contribution. It's the other side of the coin, right? And so, like, what I'm inviting you to is to, like, recognize this within yourself and realize that contribution is a being. You can be that contribution everywhere you go, with the embodiment of, like, that impact, that purpose, that's of service, where everywhere you go, you know that the resonance that you are, that you be, changes that field, changes the people in that room, changes the mindset, changes the energy. And when you go with that impact, with that level of thinking and intention of impact, when you are in the room, you feel it, because you know the difference. You know your energy, how you're feeling, and then you know when you're next to a person that's not right, that the energy is off, and you'll feel it. And at that point, now you can be an impact and change the energy in the room. And you are of a different service because you're being contribution versus thinking that, okay, I contribute, 10,000 a month or 100,000 a month, whatever it is that you contribute. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to contribute in that way by making a contribution. But I invite you to be the contribution. Be that contribution in everything that you do and you are, right? Because it's going to change things in your reality, right? And embodying being contribution in that way, making an impact or living in your impact in your service is simple. It lines up with it. That makes sense, right? Now, being contribution, being of impact, being of service, if you believe that you are unworthy or unequipped or you can't do these things, then you won't do these things. Now, the human condition for most of us is fear and protection and making sure that we're good and the people that are closest to us are good, right? And so, give you another quick example. Today, me and my daughter are driving. Now, like I mentioned in previous videos, Wednesdays have become like MMA training, studio recording, right? That's the way it's been, and I do that with my oldest daughter. And so today we're driving, and I'm just like looking at people, like squeezing, trying to get in, and like they have like this energy about them that you see them in the car, both hands on the steering wheel. You can feel how tight their ass is, right? Freaking driving like with this thing was like, no, nobody's getting through. And they don't even look at you. They're just pushing their car to get through, And so I look at one person, I look at another, and I'm just looking, I'm like, they're acting like animals. Straight savages. And this comes from this energy of fear. This comes from this energy of like, I have to make sure that I am looking out for myself, right? And so if you are in this energy, right, in this state of being, you are also not going to be able to be of service and impact, right? So what I'm inviting you to do is feel into that. Pay attention to when you're acting a certain way where you're trying to put yourself first, right? Where you're making sure that you get that bread, that you get whatever that is, and you're like, I have to, I need to, and I'm doing this because it's the right thing. I'm doing it for my family, and I'm doing it for this, and I gotta, like, stop lying to yourself. You know, you're not doing this for you, for this person. You're doing this shit for you, and you're doing it from a place of like scarcity, like literally, you're scared in the inside, and you're trying to protect that inside of you, like making sure that you got that thing that you think that you need. So, like, for example, like I'm explaining about the cars, in their mind, in their energy, the reason why I could speak upon this because I was there. 10, 12, 13 years, let's say like 12 years ago, I was there. Like literally, like that was me in the car making sure like, what the fuck, you ain't cutting me. You don't fucking wait. Whoa. I've been sitting here just as long as you. Whoa. Somebody tried to cut in, wait your fucking turn. Whoa. Like all that energy, I know I was there. But I also recognize that that energy had nothing to do but with the survival instinct that we all have. Right? We have a survival instinct. And when that survival instinct is triggered constantly over and over, day in and day out, it becomes your default. That survival instinct is not supposed to be your default. That survival instinct is if you need to exercise that survival instinct to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect someone else, to stand up for somebody. You have that kick in, boom, and it's go time. But for you to live your life day in and day out in that energy and that feeling, then it becomes your default. And if your default is of that fear and that scarcity and looking out for yourself, making sure that you get the best of each particular thing, of each particular outcome, I got to make sure I get the best outcome on this. If it's supposed to be a 50-50, you're looking at how it could be a 51-49 because you got to get a little bit extra because it's you. You know, and again, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not sharing this off a freaking textbook. No, I'm speaking from the heart, true shit that I've worked through, that I see. I see my brothers and sisters struggling with this. I see it. And, you know, some of you are open. Like, you guys are open and understand. Like, shit, do that. It's okay. Like, I'm not telling you it's okay to do that. I'm saying it's okay that you do that because we've all gone through that unconsciously, right? That unconscious conscious behavior that we do, that it's like we catch ourselves later on like, damn, what am I doing that for? Why I behave like that? Like, why did I lose my shit earlier? And those of you that are in that place of actually thinking and asking yourself these questions, you're in a beautiful space, right? Because you're in a space that you are welcoming in that space between, creating that space between action, the cause and your response to that particular thing, right? And that happens when you ask these questions. When you start asking your question, you catch yourself. Because now you can process and analyze, right? And so like us having this time to be together and talk about these topics and me sharing my personal experiences so that you can understand you're not alone. Like, you're not crazy, you're not broken, you're not this, and all these freaking stories that you tell yourself, it's okay. Like, it's all good. Just what I'm saying is change it. Take the steps to change it. If you realize you're doing something, I remember I have a friend of mine years ago when I was going to a church. His grandmother, actually his mother, told him, and I was there when I overheard it, and she goes, I'm going to say his name, Victor, if you're watching this, my brother. Miss Amu, I love you. She goes to him, Victor, you know better. She's African. You know better. You do better. And I'm like, fuck yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right. When you know better, you do better. All right. So those of you that are actually navigating through these things and recognizing your patterns and the behaviors and the codes, codes that you are wired and programmed with, right? Start changing them. When you realize, like, oh snap, I'm literally, that's me. Like, what he's saying right now, that is me. When I'm driving, I feel that way. Like, you ain't calling me. Like, you ain't in front of me. Like, you gonna wait your turn. You know, when there's a situation that has to do with doing something, you're trying to get the upper hand. If you're in business, you're constantly trying to get the upper hand on something. The thought of a equally split win-win or win-win-win or win-win-win-win doesn't even freaking resonate in your brain and in your thing, because you're always trying to get that upper hand, right? So if this is you, recognize that this is the case. Now, I'm going to share another story. So a couple weeks ago, I got some gardening done, all right? Now, I got 2 different gardening companies to do it because what I needed done, I wanted it done and within the week. And the one company with the people he has in his crew, he's like, this is not likely I'm going to finish it, right? So I hired 2 different companies. One company, I got more seasoned. The other company, I gave him the job of like the least important things because he's just getting started, right? And so I gave him the job. They both did a great job. They got it done on time. However, there are certain things that one company did not do to a professional level, right? And so there was also something else that was going on, a transaction that I'm working on, that the lady, I felt, was positioning herself to take advantage, right? And so oftentimes, right, when we think about, again, deeply ingrained survival shit that we have, codings and programs, we can say, okay, I'm going to be unconditional love, right? In every situation, I want to leave it better. Like, I'm going to put the intentions to leave it better, to be in that place where I am the rising vibration. There is rising the tide in that particular time and space, in that situation, right? There's this thing inside of us that tells us, well, you can't be too nice because people will take advantage of you, right? And so if you keep feeding that, what it does, it ignites anger, defense. How fucking dare you try to take advantage of me, right? And so like these programs, they're inside all of us. Again, these are things that we have to protect ourselves. Now, recognizing that, yes, when you feel that, use it as discernment, right? Instead of feeding that line in a way where it's like, well, people trying to take advantage of me, all these, they gonna learn today. You know, like, let's not do it that way, right? That's old behavior. That's old patterns that does not serve you. Let's get that out of the way. And let's bring in the new pattern of using that as discernment. Let's use it as a way like, I see what's happening here. I'm not going to go down the storyline of calling her out or be like, oh, you ain't taking advantage of me. No, you see what's happening, pivot. Remember, your situation, your, let's just say, task or your mission, if you choose to accept it, right? Like a Mission Impossible is to make every situation better. So instead of judging it and allowing yourself to go back into those survival instincts and bring up that anger and bring up that, like, oh man, these person's trying to take advantage of me. No, try to pivot so that you can help that person see that you understand what they're trying to do without saying like, are you trying to take advantage of me? Like, no, help that person see. Because sometimes people's programming, they're so blind to what it is that they're doing, they don't even realize. It's like their default. They do that with everybody. It's not just you. So if you can realize like this is what's going on with this person and your goal, your point of service, of being contribution is to leave every situation better at a higher vibration. So what you're doing now is think of yourself as a mirror with your words, with your posture, with your actions, with switching the situation. You're pivoting. You're pivoting them, right? You're helping them see the angle that's going to help them see that they are being manipulating and trying to take advantage. So use the discernment as a tool to help that person to come into recognition as to what is it they're doing, versus using those survival those hardwired programs that we have of survival to recognize and react in a certain way that's not serving the highest of that particular situation. Now, I know that you understand everything that I just broke down. I know you understand what it is that I'm sharing with you, right? Now, what happened was that I felt that, and I needed my reminder, right? So the same day I went out, and what they did was I have pavers on the front. My driveway's pavers, the stairs going up to the house, pavers, everything's pavers. And so they, washed it up. They took the sand out. They put new sand. They put a new coat on it and everything. Now, when I saw it, I kind of figured they didn't do the best job in cleaning the sand off after you put it on. Whatever. I'm like, they're older pavers. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll leave it alone. So now as rain is happening and the sprinklers running, the sand is starting to come out. And they're at the edge of the curb cut at the front of the house. And so I'm seeing that sand, and I'm just I'm nodding my head, these and I'm allowing myself to get caught up in that story of being taken advantage of, right? And so I'm like, don't mistake my kindness over weakness. And I'm like, just got on this, I'll smack the shit. And I'm allowing myself go down this rabbit hole. And then I get the phone call from that particular seller from a property that we're buying. And then she's saying stuff to me that, again, is coinciding with the being taken advantage of storyline. And I felt myself get really upset. Now, I was just feeding into the energy of it, and I was just getting really pissed, right? I wasn't even thinking logically this is what's happening. But I am aware that I'm feeling this, right? And I handle the situations, cool, said the right things, did the right things, called the landscaper, listen, we're gonna work this out where I'm gonna do a wash, and if you need to, you're gonna come back and do the sand and everything. And everything worked out, but I still had that anger inside of me, right? And so I'm walking around the house doing my thing and blah, blah. And then my wife comes over. She's like, you good? And I'm like, not really. And she's like, what's up? I'm like, I feel really fucking pissed right now. So she's like, but what happened? I'm like, nothing. Everything that happened has been taken care of. It's not like nothing is lingering. And so I started walking around. I'm like, you know what, babe? I'm going to go for a walk. So I went for a walk. And after the walk, I sat down, and I'm still processing. I sat down and I closed my eyes, and I went into a meditative state in front of the house. And then I saw it. I saw everything play out. And I'm like, dude, you fell right into the whole emotional energy of it, right? And so logically, I saw it and had the discernment, pivoted, and did what I had to do to correct all the situation and help them see what they were doing. But energetically and emotionally, it was bringing shit up in me that needed to come out, obviously, right? And so this energy of trying to the survival of being taken advantage of, you ain't doing that to me and this and that, that's what was happening energetically, emotionally. Mentally, I have the tools to handle and do the things that had to be taken care of. But energetically in the body, the anger was freaking there. It was alive, And so as I, have a process of meditate, where I let it go and process and have the gratitude for the wisdom that came from that situation, and energy dissipate, all is well and all is beautiful. However, this story, when this comes up, these type of things come up, it's like a channel for you. So those of you guys that are watching this, that have done some transformation, and sometimes catch yourself in that anger of oh, you're trying to take advantage of me? Just process it. And when you do, let it go and see the wisdom in it, and don't get caught up in it. And it's a normal thing as you're moving through this journey of life. There's going to be old patterns, remnants that are going to present themselves in a different way, because it's time for you to completely release and shift it. And there's sometimes you're shifting not just for you in particular, but you're shifting the energy for the people in your inner reality and also in the collective reality. So just be aware. And as you're being aware, don't judge it too much. Pivot and make the changes. Okay? Now, let's bring that all in. So we started talking about in this episode from previous ones of intentions. right? So we have the intentions where we talked about impact, the layer of intentions, right? So we have a couple videos that have to do with intentions, and we've been hitting them in layers. The last layer that we had hit in the previous one had to do with impact and service. And so most people think about impact and service, and they think that, like, oh, I have to do X, Y, Z to be able to then make an impact or be a contribution, right? So this is the summary, right? So now you don't have to do that, right? What you need to do is just have the mindset, or I invite you to have the mindset of like, okay, I can be the contribution. And yes, I am worthy of being that contribution. I can be that contribution. I don't need anybody's approval to be that contribution. And when you start to be in that energy, trust me, the information will flow, right? You're going to say things and wisdom is going to come to you that's like, oh, wait a minute. Where did this come from? A quick sidebar. You have people that are well known in this world, like, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Edison, where they would go into these trance states of what we call now meditation to get the inspiration and the ideas of all these inventions that they created and patented. Now, did they get a book for that? Did they read a book to find out a new invention? No, it's a new invention. One said. But having that realization that they don't need to do this, jump through this, get this degree, do this, do that, in order for them to get these ideas of inventions and inspiration. They know that they can. All they got to do is tap into that source, an infinite source that gives them that inspiration. But they put themselves in the position to be of service, to be that contribution. I hope this is making sense, because if you put yourself in that position, I am the contribution and I'm the channel for that contribution. Now you put yourself in a position that you are worthy, right? And when that information is coming through, you will impact based upon your intentions and what it is that you are here to contribute based upon you. Nobody else but you, right? So I hope this made sense to you guys. I know that a lot of you got some good nuggets in here. We tied in a lot of different stories, a lot of different angles when it comes to intention and contribution. But I know the medicine is there for you guys, all right? So, sending you guys so much love. I love you all. All right, familia, until next time, much love.